I just repointed this old wall, and this is part 2. I'm going to show you how I did it. Alright, today's job is, right here is this old stone wall that was built in 1938, 39, 1940. And at one time, see how they had this, it's called roping, some people call it grapevine. Well, everything fell out of here. And then what happened as the neighbors went up, they patched it up, which is kind of a... It's less than a perfect way to do it, let's put it that way. And right up the road. And my dad in 1940 used to live over there. And he remembers them building this wall. So this is a WPA project. So all we're going to do is patch it up to make it look like the neighbors. Nothing special. So now we're just digging away from the wall a little bit, because when we wash it off, we don't have to be worrying about making a big mud puddle. We're going to wash it the day before. So the only thing we can really do is we're cleaning out the joints. And then we're just going to wash it out. So the only thing I'm doing now is going to wash it all off. Get all the stuff out of the joints the best I can. And then we're just going to point it up. Okay, we're going to mix the cement. He's throwing 1 bucket of sand in. That's masonry sand, right? And then he's throwing 1/2 a bucket of Portland in. And he's going to mix it up dry first. All right, now he's going to put a little water in, and a little at a time he's just going to mix it up until what we call a dry pack. And basically when it's mixed, it's like a Play-Doh, and if it's like that, it doesn't dirty the stone as much. Just an old school way of doing things. So sometimes you just got to get these stones back in here. And then we just use the old school way of getting it back in there. Put in there with a couple shims. Fit it right back inside. Just like that. And then pack it right in there. Real tight, so she won't go anywhere. So sometimes you gotta make your own stones out of whatever you could find. This is how they did it. Basically, they faced it same way, just like that. Yep. Okay, we're gonna make that stone. Gonna go right in here like that. This a bit in. Pack it in there. So now I've been rummaging around the neighborhood trying to find stones that'll match. So me being colorblind, that don't help a lot. I face it like that. kind of make it match, see it? And then throw some dry pack in there like that. Put it in. Just like that. And then same thing, I just dry pack around it. Shoving that stuff in there. Pack it in real good. Just like that. Alright, so we're using a dry pack. This is a dry pack cement. See, it's not real wet and it's not real dry. You can almost make it like Play-Doh. And we're going to pack it in there. Now we could use a lot of wetter cement, but if we use wet cement, what happens is screws all the stone up. And all we're really doing is just packing it in there. And I want to just point this out. This is what they called roping in the old days, or they called grapevine. And I'm going to show you a little bit about how they did that in the past. But that's all we're doing, is just packing it in there like that. So we're looking right down the street, and basically here's what that wall looked like. And what they did is they used to disguise the joints that goes into the rock. Then they'd put the roping or grapevine on, and then it looked like it was a perfect job. Trowel, and we're packing it in there just like that. Just packing it in here. Now this wall was built there in the Depression era, and in those days you're getting $1 a day. My dad remembers them building this wall, and everybody was a stonemason back then. So when they used to do it, this is basically the way they did it. And I have a video. It's called Early American Stonework, so you can check that out. But the reason we're doing it this way, and we're not doing it with the water, we're making it real wet like last time, is last time I got dirt and I threw it against it. Well, that's not the case. Anytime you're doing any kind of patching or stonework, a reason for doing everything a different way. Gotta build this up too. Not gonna make a big project out of it. We're gonna bring it back a little bit. Here. This one here. This will be our top stone, just like that. I run the line all the way down as best I can. Keep it where it's supposed to be. Now, just like on my other videos, after it dries off a little bit, you get a little paintbrush. That kind of smooths it all out. Use your fingers if you have to. Whatever you got to do. All we're doing is matching what the neighbors did. I mean, if they wanted a perfect job, you have to tear the wall down and do it all over. You get yourself a sponge and just go over the edges. That's it, and that cleans that up real nice. You don't want to, gotta remember to keep rinsing the sponge out. That's it. So now we're just straightening out the top the best we can. We're gonna make everything level. Go get that.
Should I do it right up here too?
Yep. So I'm going to explain roping to you, or some people call it grapevine, some people call it something else. But all the old timers were fanatics, and they were really worried about their joints. I'm just doing this for an idea, but their joints would be like that. And sometimes when you're doing this, you would have some part of the joint would be bigger on this side or smaller on the other side, and they couldn't stand that. So they would use a thing called roping to hide that. So this is just for an idea, just so you can see what's going on. And then of course they'd do that with their paintbrush, like that. And then they'd get their sponge. Some of them didn't have sponges in them days. They'd use rags. And that's what their joint will look like. Just like that. So we're going to let that dry and come back tomorrow. Now this is a quick rundown on how they did it. What they did was they got a little sand, white cement, and they mixed it up. And after we mix it up, pretty good. So we got it all mixed up. Then the next important thing is you gotta wet it. This is the next day. So that's all dry. You have to wet it. If you want concrete or cement to stick, you gotta wet it. Now this is the tool they used basically. This is a store-bought one. In those days, they'd make their own. What you did was you had to make sure that's very clean, and you wet that first. And then you get that on here, and they used a level because they were freaks. And they would go just like that. And like I said, you gotta keep wetting this. Keep wetting that. Then they'd get it just about like that. Then you get yourself a little scraper, a screwdriver or anything, and you scrape it away. You see that? You just scrape the old parts away. That cement from underneath is still a little wet from yesterday. You scrape that all away, just like that. And you get yourself an old toothbrush, and you go like this. You get that out of there like that. You get yourself the sponge, you go underneath it, and you clean it. Your toothbrush on top. Clean the top. Just go lightly over the top. That's basically how they did that. So if you ever run across that, at least you know what they did.